we're drawing another randomly generated NPC, and this one will be quite the hare. It's a Harengon. It's like a rabbit person thing. Here on my Sketchy Habit. Hello, my name's Patrick, I'm an artist, and this is my Sketchy Habit where we draw every day and we don't have to be ashamed. That's right, we're art positive. In fact, we have a Discord where you can join, hang out with other art positive people, share your art, do all sorts of stuff. Join that link down below, that'd be great. Today, we're gonna draw another randomly generated NPC, and this one's super fun. I can't wait to show you. Of course, we gotta start by rolling some dice, but then we'll get to the art. So we've got our 5 pieces: a Harengon, a Necromancer, a Dreamer, a Hive motif, and an Owlbear. These are the pieces, and if you watch my last random NPC that I drew on Tuesday, you'll know that I forgot the animal, so I thought, let's be animal forward today and have our wonderful Harengon riding a wonderful Owlbear. Now, a Harengon, if you don't know, which I didn't, is a rabbit person. Basically, there are a number of races in fantasy, like Aarakocra, which are bird people, and Kenku, which are crows. Harengon are like, Redwall brought to life in fantasy, so it's not brought to life. And ours is a Necromancer of all things. I wasn't really sure what to do with that, and so you can see as I build my rabbit face here, I realized that I think it would be more fun than just drawing a rabbit face to give them like a creepy mask of a skull of a rabbit on top of their rabbit face. It implies that they've killed other Harengon. Maybe they res Harengon as their zombie familiars. And yeah, so this is our wonderful rabbit mask skull on their face. And then they also have the actual jowls of their normal rabbit self on there. We're on our next layer here. We've got our basic pose, and now we're working on detail layer in our sketch. Just trying to build in things like clothing and style. We haven't obviously touched on the idea of a hive, and I thought it'd be fun to have like an undead hive that they've sort of grown, and they have sort of as a part of them or a part of their bear, I'm not really sure, but they've cultivated this or can summon this and sort of have it on their lap and can pull from its energy to attack and threaten. And so you can see we've got this one arm sticking out with hopes of it to hold some honey and some honeycomb. We'll see that coming in. I did get this pose, from an image of a bear, trying to understand how bears might stand. And so I'm struggling a bit to get the rider on there properly, where their foot goes versus where the bear body is, where they overlap and don't from this particular angle. I love what it came up with, but it's still a bit of a struggle in the end. We get there though. Look, here's a little secret about art. Sometimes you do things and you keep doing things even though you're not sure about them. And the end results sort of speak for themselves because you get to an end and you can be somewhat happy with things even if they're not perfect. Speaking of not perfect, we're putting some honeycomb sketches in here. I start drawing in little details for honeycomb and I realized, nah, this is the sketch layer. We don't need all the details. Let's just create some shapes that could have honeycomb in them, and we'll deal with the detail of it later when we get to our line art. So this sort of crystalline thing on top of them is this honeycomb that they've got with them, and they've got this handful of honeycomb. It's also time for us to get into our Owlbear because we can't get that foot until we get the bear together, the Owlbear together. And I go for a classic owl look. This guy could get to the center of a Tootsie Pop real quick. He's got that sort of vibe. And yeah, we're starting to detail in some of these like feathery bits. The tricky part of an Owlbear always comes down to where do the feathers start and where does the fur begin? And do they begin? Sometimes you see an Owlbear and they're all feather, but in a bear shape. Sometimes they become part bear halfway through. It's always hard to tell. But for ours, I decided to go with primarily a head of an owl with the body of a bear, both for simplicity and because I think too many feathers would distract from the core of our image, which is really following this face to this other face. And yeah, we're just sketching in this bear shape, and we'll be back with the line art. It's game time! That's right, we're playing Pokemon Silhouettes this week, and we have one more for you. The silhouette is of Gengar. What's it going to become? Let's find out. And yeah, it's time for us to get into our line art. And, you know, I really was thinking a lot about this character. Who are they? What are they all about? They've got sort of robes on. It feels like they could be a member of a cult really nicely. You know, cults love a good mask situation, right? I think if I was ever in a cult, I'd prefer to be in one that wore masks. I don't think you should be in a cult, as a side note. But anyways, we're sure building in this, like, what's the word for that thing? It's when they have, like, the peasants often wear. I don't know. This look. Also, the idea of dreamer seemed complicated with this particular image. Obviously, wearing a mask meant that a lot of the personality could be held behind. But I tried to give them this sort of upright, confident pose of someone who might be dreaming of a better world, even if their image of a better world is one that succumbs to the zombie bees. It's just the way it's going to be. We also get through here and start designing some of those feather details in our bear and build in some of those core bear shapes. Again, I like this pose with the bear forward and the person on the back actively doing something. I think it looks really cool in the end. We just got to build out some of these details and decide where lines should ultimately be. I want these eyes as well to have a little bit more life, so we gave them some of these bags underneath. Started creating like almost a mask made out of their feathers. It doesn't entirely work, so we have to redraw it a few times and start detailing in more feathers in their face for it to really not stand out too awkwardly. I think it works out in the end. It's one of the areas where I probably should spend more time in the future. But hey, you gotta make and you gotta finish, and that's just the way it is. We're getting close here on this one. We're gonna go through and get that last arm, and of course the honeycomb needs to start being built out. I decided that we needed to have some of this honey dripping from it, so that he's grabbing not just comb, but honey itself. And so you can see I'm just trying to create shapes and then build in some details for honeycombs. This is just drawing a lot of hexagonal-ish circles inside of all the shapes that I originally created and trying to build in a sense of shadow. So I know for this image that shadow is going to come from the left just because of the pose. That felt right to me. And so here I'm just sort of thickening in lines and trying to get into details of our wonderful, wonderful hexagons. You can also see I'm putting in some extra shadows as well. Hexagons being hive. And trying to build in a nicer looking version of this fantastic honeycomb. I also realized that I want to have bees sort of flying around, right? That these are necromantic bees and honey, and so of course there's going to be bees flying around him. We'll fill in all of the details of this honeycomb, get in a few more bees, and we'll be back for coloring in just a minute. It's time for the dad joke, bad joke. How did the Vikings communicate with It's time for the dad joke, bad joke. My dad sends me a joke every single day in WhatsApp, and I collect them all up so I can give them back to you. And today we have this lovely little joke. It goes like this. How did the Vikings communicate? How did the Vikings communicate? With Norse code. It's Norse code, like Norse code. How did the Vikings communicate with Norse code? Let's get back to the art. All right, it's time for some color, and I definitely wanted this Harengon to have sort of a gray motif. I started experimenting a bit with some colors, but I realized that, no, in the end, we probably got to go with the basic necromantic black. But I did give them some red on their accents, so their pants and the bottom of their hood. But then I think I changed that out too, do I? No, I don't. I think I keep it like that. I tested some colors, and now we're moving forward. I thought green would be the appropriate image for this honey, because it's this undead sort of color. The bees will be yellow, but, you know, good bees for you. I thought maybe we could do the owlbear in some interesting colors, but in the end I went with some basic brown just to help fill in the sense of things. I don't want it to be an undead owlbear, though it certainly could be for this kind of character. And then I have this little problem when it comes to where do I put brightness on this face versus where should there be darkness. Because if it goes too dark in the body, it's going to blend into the rest of the Harengon. If it go too light in the face, it's going to pull too much attention away. And so you can see me here experimenting with some color differences and some, you know, various ideas. I think we end up with this lower fringe being white and the middle of the face being this darker color, which gives us a chance to have that light feathering, that light brown, and that darker face. It also means that, like, the eyes of the face pull in nicely, as do the, you know, it doesn't take away from our main character. We're getting shadows in here. We're also going to get some lights and some glowing bits. Let's pull it all together and let me show you the final reveal of our wonderful Harengon Necromancer with their owlbear. Bear. All right, let's check it out. And that is our wonderful Harengon Necromancer on an owlbear. It's a real image. I love how it turned out. I hope you like it too. I also haven't named this character yet, so I would love to see what you have in mind for a name. Drop it down in the comments down below. I cannot wait to hear your ideas. If you like this kind of thing, let me know so I keep working on projects similar to this. It's always super helpful to know. For now, let's look at our art gallery where we love to share your art. I didn't have any for today, but I would love to see some. Join the Doodle Croodle in the Discord down below and show us what you can doodle do. I cannot wait to see what you're working on. We also have a sheet of inspirations, which yesterday the word was boss, and I drew this lovely not Bowser. But it kind of looks a bit like Bowser. But it's my video game boss that I was inspired for. And yeah, super fun. That inspiration sheet is all about just having things to help us be creative every day. I don't always put 100 hours into the drawings. Sometimes I do them in 5 minutes. I'm just trying to get my creative juice flowing and draw every day. And yeah, let me encourage you to be creative as often as you can as well. We have a word for today coming from our video game inspiration sheet, and that is game over. Game over. Draw what that inspires you to draw. I cannot wait to see it. For now, we've arrived at the end of our video, which means there's only one thing left to do, and it's very simple. Go over the one rule of my sketchy habit, which is really our sketchy habit, and it's this. Don't tell anyone about our sketchy habit. That's between you and me. Actually tell people though, because like it's an ironic statement, because that's like most people are like, share this video, and I say don't do it, and it's supposed to be funny. But yeah, that's the one rule. Don't break it. Thanks for being here, friends. Till next time, keep being awesome. Bye.